Well, both managers there. Obviously, Chelsea taking on Liverpool again for the second time this week tomorrow. Both very complimentary about the type of player that Eden Hazard is, 70 to 80%. If that's what he's operating at, then another 20% would be frightening, wouldn't it, Darren?
Well, for me, at the moment in this country, he's the best player. I mean, do you know, I think he's been the best player in this country for a number of years, but consistency, I think, was always his problem. Like, obviously, he had a couple of seasons ago where he weren't really at the races, had a few injuries, didn't really look like he weren't really happy at being at Chelsea. But this season, he's come back, and what makes him so good this season is that he got linked to Real Madrid in the summer. Didn't sulk when he didn't get the move, came back this season, rolled his sleeves up, and he's been absolutely outstanding. Now, for any young player that wants an example of someone who don't get their own way and doesn't sulk, Eden Hazard, because this season, I mean, the goal against Liverpool in the week was fantastic, and he can pretty much do that whenever he feels like it.
Is it, again, as Darren says, about the consistency that is the most important part about his game? Because skill-wise, ability-wise, affecting the game, that's undoubtedly, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I'll agree with Darren as well. For a number of years, for me, he's been the best player in the Premier League. Unfortunately, he probably hasn't got to the level that his ability is. But I think when I think of the managers that he's played under Mourinho and Conte, his last few managers, and they're defence-minded managers. And he's the kind of player that, given the freedom, like we're seeing now with Sarri and the way Chelsea are playing, that's the way to get the best out of him. And I fully expect Hazard to have his best goal-scoring season this season. I can see him scoring upward of 20 goals easily. And I'm just so happy that he's stayed in the Premier League because there's so much interest. I mean, he's one of those players that...
But what's he like closer then? What?
You can see from his physique, obviously he's got all the technical abilities, an unbelievable dribbler, but he can take contact. He's so strong, and he doesn't draw fouls. He doesn't want fouls. He puts his body in between the player and the ball, and
as a protection,
he almost
for the ball.
uses you like a sort of a bounce board. He kind of waits for the contact to then sort of spring and accelerate, and he's a remarkable player. And like I said, I'm just so happy the Premier League still has him, so we can watch him every week. And with the way Chelsea are going about their play as well, it's given him that freedom to go and express himself.
When you hear the manager say that he wants a little bit more out of him in training, I mean, and Gianfranco Zola's also said they think he's capable of scoring 40 goals. I mean, it doesn't seem... He's got a real genial way about it, the way he comes across, doesn't he, Eden Hazard? But is he the type of player that's that good that perhaps plays to a certain level in training and thinks, I'm all right for the rest of it?
Potentially, I mean, he's got the perfect role model in Zola, who's arguably Chelsea's best player in history, so he's certainly got the right role model there. But listen, whatever he's doing in training is working, because, as I said, in games now, he is Chelsea's main man, and a lot of people this season, especially at the start of the season, didn't really give Chelsea a hope, really. They were kind of talking about Manchester Cities and the Liverpools.
Were you surprised by that?
I was surprised by that, because Chelsea, a big football club, always there or thereabouts, but people weren't really talking about them, but they've just quietly gone about their business, gone under the radar, got, obviously, I think they've won, 7 out of 8 games or something, 8 out of 9 games this season. And he's been a key part of that. So if he can stay fit and stay on this kind of form, then I fully expect Chelsea to have a massive season.
And again, his numbers stack up, don't they? When we look at, if you're going to compare him to other players within the Premier League, he's quite obviously top of the rankings with a fantastic start to the season. Obviously, the West Ham game at the weekend, they made slightly hard work of, but he's very much dominating the Premier League. After that, you both seem to be pretty sure that he's the best player in the Premier League at this moment in time. I mean, let's go bigger. The best player in world football? On current form?
Not yet. No. I mean, he started off unbelievable. He is the best player in the Premier League, but I mean, you can't look past Messi. Messi's done it for 10 years. What Hazard's doing now, Lionel Messi, Ronaldo, they've done it consistently. And if Hazard can go on a run of the next 6 or 9 months of replicating the form that he's shown already, then I think it's the time to say, yeah, he's definitely one of the best in the world. But at this moment in time, he's not quite there.
Yeah, I agree with what Ryan's saying, to be fair. Yeah, Messi and Ronaldo. I mean, Ronaldo didn't score for 2 games for Juventus and said it was a crisis. Do you know what I mean? But all of a sudden, I think he's got 3 in his last 2 or something crazy. So I think consistency, again, is the right word for Eden Hazard, because Messi and Ronaldo have been doing it for 10 years plus. Now, if he's going to do it for 5, 6, 7 at that top level, then people can talk about him in that conversation. But on the first 5 games of the season, to automatically put him in that bracket with Messi and Ronaldo, you just can't do that, not quite yet.
Well, there's a tweet that's come in on Eden Hazard and said, does Hazard have to leave Chelsea in order to become the best player in the world? Does that mean that, when you talk about the kind of company that we're discussing him in, Ronaldo, Messi, he's got to go to one of, obviously Chelsea's a very big club, but one of the really super clubs of European football? Darren said, didn't it? Real Madrid flirting with him, well, more than flirting with him over the summer.
I think if you're a player and Real Madrid or Barcelona come knocking, then they're the biggest, they're the best. They've proven it for so long, and the last sort of 10 years, 10, 15, 20 years even, all the best players in the world have probably come from those two clubs. They're serial winners, and the brand of football they play, they attract the best. So most probably, and it's a move that I can see happening. I can see probably happening next season. I think that although the move didn't materialise this season, the way Hazard's approached the start of this season, I think if he carries on replicating that form, then for sure Real Madrid or Barcelona will come calling.
Do you think there's, from a slightly cynical point of view, and Darren's congratulated Hazard with the way that he's approached the start of the season, there must be something in the back of his head that thinks, well, if I keep doing as well as I do, come January, come next summer, those big boys will come knocking again?
For sure, yes.
They've been monitoring him all season.
100%. I think he made it clear in some of the interviews that he'd done in the summer during the World Cup. He said a few things about my future and stuff like that were a little bit weird. Shirt. It was almost as if he was sort of saying, come and get me. After the World Cup he had as well, I was surprised that Real Madrid didn't come calling with Cristiano leaving as well. But like I say, I feel certain that if Hazard carries on replicating this form, then he's definitely going to leave, in my opinion.
I don't necessarily believe that he has to go to Real Madrid or Barca. I mean, I know the best players in the world go to them clubs, but Chelsea need to be in the Champions League first and foremost. Like, he's not going to win that by playing in the Europa competition, because it's not the biggest stage in the world. But if Chelsea next season get in that Champions League and he does stay again, then if they can go far in that competition and maybe even win it, then there's no reason why he can't. Because if you look at Mo Salah last season, had an outrageous season. Like, everything that hit went in, and he was in the top 3 of being the best players in the world. So it is possible, but first and foremost, I think Hazard needs to have that consistent season where he does score a lot of goals, maybe get the assists up, and he'll be in the conversation.